We got some big starts from Framber Valdez and Tobias Myers. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, July 11th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White. And first up, Framber Valdez was awesome up against the Marlins. It is a great matchup. 7 innings, 1 run with a season-high 10 strikeouts. And Scott, Valdez changed the pitch mix in this start, and I thought it was really encouraging.
Yeah, he did do some different things. Most notably, he brought back the slider. It's a pitch he's hardly used this year. And it was his best swing and miss pitch last year. Not that he used it a ton then either, but it got five of the 17 whiffs, thrown at 14% at the time. So, it might be helpful to bring that back. His strikeouts have been a bit lagging this year. Ultimately, though, I don't know that I've been that worried about Valdez. He hasn't been quite as good, but he's still been big, extreme ground ball guy, works deep into games. He hasn't been bad, like with a bunch of red flags that make me think he's on the decline, really. Just he's been a little off. And when a pitcher as well established as him is just a little off like that, I expect it to normalize in time. And maybe the slider will be a factor in that. But with or without it, I think it was going to happen.
Let's talk about Tobias Myers, who was awesome up against the Pirates. He threw 8 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts, and over his last 7 starts, a 1.79 ERA, a .93 WHIP. He's 61% rostered, could still be out there in some leagues. Scott, are you buying what Tobias Myers is selling?
Well, I don't know that it's a priority to roster him. I don't have a problem with him being rostered in 61% of leagues. I wouldn't have a problem if it was 41% of leagues. I do think there may be more than meets the eye here, because I'm sure if you have him rostered already, it's not with a lot of excitement. It's just I need another guy and he's done okay, so let's give him a try. I think, though, looking at the arsenal for Tobias Myers, what stands out to me is he has his third and fourth pitches, slider and changeup, have gotten amazing results. The slider, 182 batting average against, 33% whiff rate. The changeup, 095 batting average against, 42% whiff rate. So those two pitches are playing sort of like Reese Olson level. And if Tobias Myers started throwing them as often as Reese Olson, well, maybe he'd really be onto something. Maybe it would not just be happenstance that he's performed well. Maybe he could legitimately perform well. It's a big if. And it's more of a let's keep watching and see how this goes. But it wouldn't be the most shocking thing to me in the world if Tobias Myers became an actual fantasy asset as opposed to just a guy.
All right, let's wrap up with some hitter questions. And first up is Nolan Jones, who did have a solid game here on Wednesday, 2 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. But in 22 games since returning from the IL, he's batting .239 with 2 homers, 1 steal, and a 29% strikeout rate. Nolan Jones down to 72% rostered. Scott, can we drop Nolan Jones?
3 outfielder leagues, absolutely. You probably already dropped them. And don't need me to say that. 5 outfielder leagues, I'd be a little more reluctant because you go so much deeper into the outfield pool there that, I mean, what are you going to pick up instead? I'm not sure it's going to be anyone worthwhile at all. Nolan Jones in that scenario, 5 outfielders, no one worth picking up. I think I'd rather hold on just in case he catches fire again, because I don't think the talent's gone anywhere. I think there are flaws in his game that may be contributing to what's going on with him. Maybe he'll never get it right this year. But if he does, then he'll very quickly become a start again.
Alec Burleson hit his 15th home run of the season here on Wednesday, and now he's up to a .282 batting average. He's got 48 RBI, 7 steals, a .790 OPS. Scott, is Alec Burleson a stud for fantasy?
I wouldn't go quite that far. I think he's good. I've always liked Alec Burleson. I'm glad he's finally living up to his potential. But I don't rank him as a stud because I don't think the upside for that is quite there. I think to be a stud, you either have to walk a decent amount so that your run scoring total can be solid, or you have to run some, which he's run a little bit, I guess, but not in a way that's believable. Mostly, I don't think Burleson is going to be like this regular 30 homer hitter because the high end exit velocities aren't there to support that. He hits the ball pretty well on average, and I think it's a good hit tool, low strikeout rate, all of that, good all fields approach. But I think he's outpacing expectations as far as home runs goes. So maybe he would have the upside of like a Gleyber Torres. Chris Towers made that comparison on the Full Length podcast. I think it's a good one. I see him as like a borderline top 30 outfielder. So definitely worth rostering, worth starting in most every league, but not quite a stud.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.